Welcome back to the MMA Explorers. Today, let's get started with MMA Community Reacts to Khamzat Chimaev's dominant win over Dricus Du Plessis at UFC 319. UFC 319 is officially in the books, and the MMA world is buzzing after one of the most one-sided title fights in recent memory. From the opening bell, Khamzat Chimaev wasted no time, shooting for a takedown within the first 5 seconds and setting the tone for the fight. Rounds 1 through 4 were almost carbon copies of each other, Chimaev repeatedly taking Dricus Du Plessis to the mat, trapping him in crucifix positions and unleashing relentless ground control. Du Plessis had no answers, and the champion's offense was completely shut down. In the 5th and final round, Du Plessis nearly pulled off a late miracle with a submission attempt in the closing 30 seconds, but Chimaev stayed composed and saw out the fight. The result was a clear-cut, unanimous decision victory for Chimaev, solidifying his place as the UFC middleweight champion. Here is what community has to say. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like on this video to support the channel. Let's aim for 10 likes. Conor McGregor said, Chechnya's first UFC champion. Congrats. Nate Diaz stated, can't fight. Dylan Danis said, I'm the only fighter alive with the style to strangle Khamzat Chimaev. None of these guys can touch my skill set. That's why they keep me away from them. Soon, I'll be undeniable. When that time comes, they'll find out these guys aren't even close to my level. I'll save the MMA world from this cleft-lip inbred rat. Sean Strickland said, I'm probably the only one in the UFC that can out-grapple that little whore for 5 rounds. Well, looks like I gotta stack some W's to fight that little bitch Alamau. The MMA guru said, yeah, that's the last time I'll ever be hyped up for a Khamzat Chimaev fight. All that talk of being some badass and crazy energy on fight week just to wet blanket and choose to not finish so as not to allow space for a scramble. Pathetic non-warrior. The MMA guru also said, can't believe I'm saying this, UFC 319, but I owe Merab Dvalishvili a sincere apology. I didn't realize just how much you actually scrap and try to make fights entertaining. This Chimaev versus Du Plessis fight finally revealed the error of my ways. Merab, you are exciting after all. Henry Sejudo said, Dricus showed heart, but Khamzat Chimaev is on another level right now. He may very well be champion for years to come. Kamaru Usman said, I hate to say it, but what was that? Emoji. Paulo Costa said, no one wants to walk this shit lol. PPL booing in the arena and at bar. Charles Sonnen said, do you realize it's over 400 punches landed versus 1? Bilal Muhammad said, shoot out to Dricus, you showed a lot of heart, you never gave up. Just kidding, you suck, that was 5-10 to 8s. Dominic Cruz said, Chimaev beat DDP with the same pace, style, and pressure as always. Muhammad Mukayev said, Chimaev took him to deep water, just different level. Bo Nikal said, I really gotta lock in. Ben Askren said, man, DDP has got some serious heart but needs so sprawls to go with it. Ariel Helwani said, fight concludes. Chimaev will win 5-0. Total dominance. I do have to give credit to DDP, never quit, and had a couple moments of hope in the 5th. The Chimaev era has officially begun. Terrence McKinney said, DDP didn't lose, he just needed 3 more rounds. Kelvin Gastelum said, Chimaev dominating the later rounds was not on my 2025 bingo card. Ayman Sahabi said, what an incredible performance by Chimaev. He will be one of the most dominant champions ever. Submission Radio said, absolute domination by Khamzat Chimaev. Perhaps the greatest wrestling domination in a championship fight. Also hats off to Dricus Du Plessis, who tried till the very last minute. Khamzat's grappling is just unstoppable. Patrick Bet-David said, wow, for the first 4 rounds, Chimaev completely smothered and overwhelmed Du Plessis. Didn't even give him a chance to breathe. Unbelievable conditioning, pure dominance. Major respect to Du Plessis for fighting till the last second. Very entertaining card. Dana White reacts to Khamzat Chimaev's dominant UFC 319 title win. UFC President Dana White has weighed in following Khamzat Chimaev's one-sided victory over Dricus Du Plessis at UFC 319 post-fight press conference, where Boers claimed the middleweight title with a dominant grappling performance.
Did you see before this fight that being the possible way it was going to play out?
No. The lead up to this fight, I said, I bet the main event is the fight of the night. Didn't see that coming, but not shocked either. I mean, you go in and dominate the way that he dominated. If you can do it the first round, more than likely you can do it the second and throughout the rest of the fight.
There was a time, and it was in the promos leading up to this fight, you said Khamzat was special, one of the most special guys you've ever seen. Do you think he's lived up to that yet, or does he still have a little ways to go because he's been a bit more inactive since
the night on when we were on Fight Island? Said I want to fight next Saturday. Ever since then, the guy's been a rocket ship, and obviously is very popular too. People love him. Fighting back here in the United States, and obviously Chicago loved him too.
And what did you think of DDP's performance? Right, obviously he was outmatched in the wrestling. Never gave up though. Even in the last round, he started landing his own shots. What did you make of DDP and his toughness to survive 5 rounds?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I had every round at 10-8, maybe except for the last round. You know, to be in the position that he was in and the crucifix and just getting dominated on the ground and punched in the face and elbowed, and it's a very frustrating place to be in. I thought he handled it well and came out every round, you know, trying to get in the fight and try to win. Yeah. Impressive.
On the crucifix, it's a weird one, right? They're landing strikes. He's landing like 200 punches a round, but they're not quite hard enough to end the fight. Are you glad the referee doesn't wave a fight off in that?
Listen, I don't know how hard they are, and I don't want to fucking know how hard they are. Nobody wants to be in a crucifix getting punched in the head like that. It's got to be the most frustrating, you know, suck the heart and soul right out of you type thing to happen. And just getting dominated on the ground the way that he did is no fun for anybody. I wouldn't say that, you know, oh, he's getting pitted-patted striked. I mean, his face was pretty busted up. The knees that he was taking to the body and to the legs and the hips, and it's going to be a long ride home to South Africa.
Khamzat Chimaev mocks about returning black belt after failing to finish Dricus Du Plessis at UFC 319. Khamzat Chimaev may have delivered one of the most dominant performances in recent UFC history at UFC 319, but the new middleweight champion still wasn't completely satisfied with himself. Despite landing over 500 strikes and controlling nearly every second of his 5-round title fight against Dricus Du Plessis, Chimaev joked afterward that he didn't deserve to keep his black belt because he couldn't secure the finish.
You've had that back position on a lot of guys and you'd be able to choke them out. Was Dricus doing anything right to defend it, or?
Just because I was sweating, I went under last 30 seconds, tried to finish him. I heard my corner says 30 seconds, that means to go submit him. So I tried, but make mistake. So thankful for my coach, he gives the black belt, but I was like, when I went under, fuck, I don't have a black belt now. So, but he gives me respect.
Khamzat Chimaev calls his mother after becoming UFC champion at UFC 319. After cementing his place as the new UFC middleweight champion with a dominant win over Dricus Du Plessis at UFC 319, Khamzat Chimaev took a moment to share the achievement with someone closest to him, his mother. Before we continue, help us reach our goal of 100 subscribers here on MMA Explorers. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our daily MMA content.
Deze dag naar overvlakken, jou maar jou. Dat is natuurlijk kijk hoe doe mij er aan ja. En ga je afstel als je hebt al iets aan doen. Nee, daar kan zo chip doen. Dat is hier. Had je hoe die zo aan kan zo gaan. I think that left alone. Hopeless, really well. Yeah, well.
I get like 2 more.
Right, she had a good deal on that second. But my got go my
Let's wrap it up for the day. Thanks for watching.